Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a new video. Let's do a little kitchen ranting, and talk about a few things. I put together a system called the Life Force Diet Mastery System. It's very basic, and I've been following this for a very long time now, and I've also gained a lot of benefit from doing so. For years, I followed different diet systems: vegan, vegetarian, high carb, low fat, high fat, low carb, ketogenic. You know, I've gone through just an up and down roller coaster ride, experimenting with different things. And what I learned from that is that it wasn't right for me. I'd experienced temporary benefit from some of these diet systems, but I finally sat down and said, you know what, I'm just going to condense the best parts of what I've learned through my trial and error and put it into a system that's easy to follow, that's easy to understand, that isn't full of dogma, you name it. So again, that's the Life Force Diet Mastery System. It's available on my website, www.sacredhealingtools.com, in the form of a digital download. It's a 3.5-hour course that comes with some other course materials, a very short ebook, you name it. I explain to you exactly what to eat and what not to eat. It's very easy. And every person that has gone on this system and even followed it lightly without completely adopting it has experienced benefit. It's a gluten-free system. It's an oil-free system that emphasizes a massive amount of intake from the right foods. Imagine that. Things like sprouts, things like the proper animal products. So if you want to learn more, just check out my website. I didn't want to make this an advertisement, but I just wanted to mention it because there's so much confusion out there, folks. Even if you don't buy the system from me, just eat real food. Just eat real food and exclude gluten and vegetable oils. Have you seen the amount of processing that vegetable oils go through? You know, a lot of people seem to think that there's like these magical elves somewhere that are just like squeezing the oils out of vegetable seeds and nuts. And that's like the only step in the manufacturing process. Folks, it's a disgusting process with over 7 steps. It's insane to actually witness how vegetable oils are made, and they have to do all sorts of shit to them just to make them even palatable. So they're not just squeezing seeds and nuts and putting it into a bottle. They're using hexanes and solvents, and they're heating it. And when you heat these vegetable oils, folks, you have the byproducts that are created from that, the toxic byproducts, of which there are many, and one of them, known as the aldehydes, incredibly toxic. So when these vegetable seeds and these oils are made, they go rancid, folks. They oxidize. And then you consume this stuff, and then you invite in massive amounts of oxidative stress into your system, and your body's already taxed enough. So even when I was a vegan, even when I was plant-based, I was never a fan of mass-produced commercial vegetable oils. Things like corn oil, are you kidding me? Things like soybean oil and all the other bullshit. I was always a fan of the tropical oils, the palm oil, if it comes from a sustainable source, because it has a decent amount of vitamin E bound to it, and the coconut oil, and the avocado oil. And those are the 3 oils that I would suggest using if you're not willing to just consume butter. So, butter you can leave out, folks. Butter's what our ancestors used. Butter is not going to oxidize rapidly like the oils, the olive oil, and all this crap. I don't need to hear anything about the olive oil nonsense either. I mean, if you want to eat olive oil, go for it. People say, oh, but what about the Mediterranean diet? Well, last time I checked, the longest lived group in the Mediterranean, which is where the Mediterranean diet originated, excuse me, the longest lived group in the Mediterranean were the Sardinians. And the Sardinians did one thing that the rest of the folks in the Mediterraneans, they did one thing differently than everybody else. Long story short, they didn't consume oil. And if you look into the research of Peter Gluten, and Dr. Joel Wallach. It looks like the Sardinians persisted on root vegetables. They were relatively poor, so they ate a lot of either goat or lamb, and they had to exercise a lot. They had their hands in the soil because they were cultivating their own food. They were eating they were living in a more agrarian manner. And I believe the Sardinians started calling everybody else in the Mediterranean greasers because they were consuming oil, olive oil. So you may be able to get some good quality olive oil where it doesn't go through all the manufacturing processes, but most people aren't consuming that shit. Most people are consuming rancid fucking oils, folks. This is one of the contributing factors alongside gluten to bad skin health. And improper cognition. There's something seriously wrong going on right now here, ladies and gentlemen, with humanity. People are ill. And it's not just physical illness. There's a spiritual illness. There's a mental illness. Once you get your health back, once you get just a little bit of life force in your system, you'll begin to see the truth. You'll begin to see why I've called people, or why I've called this realm the underworld, the land of the bottom feeder, the land of the dead. People are alive, but they're not living. I hope that makes sense. There's a difference between thriving and being alive than just being alive and being, kind of like I'm going through the motions. And I'm not making fun of people. I feel sorry for people. I don't want humanity to fall down this fucking destructive ass hole even further than we already have. So, long story short, enough's enough. You want to recover? Well, stop putting the things in your system that are keeping you from recovering in gluten and vegetable oils. Those are two of the biggest problems. People say, why are you charging for this diet system? Blah, blah, blah. Ladies and gentlemen, I just gave you two of the most important pieces of the system. Don't buy it. I know everybody wants to just get everything for free, so don't buy it. But vegetable oil and gluten. And they're slipping gluten in everything, folks. This is not a joke. You want to improve your focus? You want to increase your health? You want to feel better? You want to be able to tackle your dreams? Get rid of the gluten and the vegetable oils. Excuse me. If I had to pick one or the other in terms of the dangerous effects, it would be gluten. I pair them together because if you can get rid of these two simultaneously, you'll do yourself a whole host of benefit. But, folks, the gluten is going to destroy your body's ability to absorb nutrients because the proteins cannot be broken apart effectively in the stomach. Our stomachs just don't have the capability to properly break down the massive amount of fucking gluten that people are eating. It's very difficult for our stomach acid to break apart the chemical bonds holding together the amino acids on these proteins contained within gluten. What happens is these proteins go through the stomach into the small intestine, not properly broken apart, and they move through your small intestine and destroy your absorptive tissues. These are known as your villi. And most people have consumed gluten the majority of their lives. So no wonder people look ill. You're not absorbing nutrients from the food you eat, and the food that you eat here in the Matrix is already nutrient deficient. So gluten destroys your body's ability to absorb nutrients by way of destroying your nutrient absorptive tissues. Doesn't it make sense? It's all very basic. Once you get rid of the gluten, your body repopulates its villi. Now you can absorb things properly. Once you start getting healthy amounts of real salt back into your system, you start to produce stomach acid the way that you're supposed to, produce stomach acid. Now you can digest foods, and by the time it gets into your small intestine, after it's been broken apart in your stomach, that stuff can go right through the molecules, etc., can go right through your villi and right into your bloodstream and be delivered directly into your organism. What's weird to me is I barely made it through high school because I didn't give a fuck about all the stupid shit that they were teaching. And I've managed to just kind of skeet through the system, if you will, and figure out some very, I don't want to call them complicated. They're very basic, but the system makes everything complicated. Health, it's not complicated. We've got teams of experts being paid hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars every year that can't figure a goddamn thing out. And then there's people like witch doctors and high school dropouts and college dropouts, etc., that are getting their feet back in the ground, metaphorically speaking. They're connecting to their common sense and they're figuring out solutions to long-standing stupid issues. It's insane. I hope that makes sense. Folks, we got to get our fucking thinking caps back on. We've got to start using rationality again. What happened to humanity? What the fuck happened to humanity? I mean, this is madness out here. How do you people not see this? This is madness. People complaining about the cost of health food and this, that, and the other. You can get a fucking water filter for $40. This is actually dirty because I made some eggs in this. I put salt in this and then boil the eggs, and then I make soft boiled eggs. And this is this color because I put salt in the cold water bath after I make my hard boiled eggs so that the peels come off quickly or easily. But you know, I've had this thing for years. I've made so many pots of tea in this. Again, it looks dirty because of the salt residue when you boil eggs. Simple, you know, briefly. Put some eggs, 5 or 6 to 8, in one of these or in a pot. Put some water and some salt in it. Bring it up to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, turn it off and cover it for 7 minutes. Once the timer goes off, put it into a cold water bath with ice and you've got soft-boiled eggs. You want to consume soft-boiled eggs so that the cholesterol hasn't become denatured. But again, what I'm trying to convey here, folks, is that we have all these tools, all these beautiful alchemy tools, and nobody wants to play the game. We've got incredible supplements like quercetin and the mighty resveratrol. This is one of the best resveratrol products on the market, and it's one of the cheapest. You're welcome. We've got all of the, all of the alchemy tools here. I don't care what people say about krill oil. Krill oil has been very effective for me. You may say, but what about vegetable oils, blah, blah, blah. Look, ladies and gentlemen, vegetable oils, most people are eating massive amounts of them. I take krill oil once or twice a week, and I pair it with a nootropic compound that's fat soluble, and the two go hand in hand together. So I don't need to hear it. Some oils that are not plant-based, in my opinion, have incredible effects on human health if used properly. Obviously, you don't need fish oil or krill oil every day. But nobody wants to play the game here, folks. We've got glycine. Welcome to part of my alchemy lab. I mean, come on, guys. This is actually a really interesting supplement. People with cognitive decline, in my opinion, if they're not on like a prescription medication, this can be incredible. And it's cheap. I get most of my stuff on iHerb. I don't buy on Amazon anymore. I try not to. But I'm not going to show you guys all of these. But I mean, let's get our thinking caps back on and let's start playing the game. You know, I was playing a video game recently because I needed to find a way to fucking calm down a little bit and get rid of some of my stress. And I started playing the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Pretty outdated game, but there's a lot of nostalgia in it with my childhood. And it had me thinking. It's like, you know, all these people play these video games because they want some magic in their life. You know, they want to go on a quest. They want to find artifacts and rare items, and they want to level up and all this, that, and the other. But folks, you can do all of that here in this world. You just don't believe that you can because you've been taught by culture to have limits. You don't think that you can level your character up. You don't think that you can achieve something like a Super Saiyan state. You don't believe that. These herbs are lighting, releasing the energy. You don't believe that. Let's do this. So yeah, I think video games for the most part are stupid. But, you know, if you play them in a way where you're not doing it all the time, there can be some benefit from the stress reduction. So the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Knights of the Old Republic, the original one, that shit's pretty cool. But again, rings, magical rings in the Elder Scrolls 3. Motherfucker, I have magical rings here in this world that have real enchantments on them, not digital enchantments. I've pierced the veil and I've traveled into realms that most people would not even... I mean, come on. Excuse me. Most people wouldn't even believe it's true if I were to tell them what I've seen. This realm is a divine fucking platform. This is the real game. Are you playing? Are you modulating your health? And how do you play this role-playing game, this real game? Well, it starts by you recovering. You see the plot? You want to know the plot? The plot is that there's an evil force here in this dimension that's hijacked human consciousness and is using you as an energy source. Fucking people calling all the time. It's using you as an energy force. It's stealing your power. Recover from that. Recover from the Archon, and you do that by taking health into your own goddamn hands, folks. I mean, Jesus Christ. Let me just try to navigate into my room without showing too much. I mean, this is the real fucking world. Let's really experience it. Let's experience the magic. How about that? Fucking smoke. Let me try to move this outside so that the whole house doesn't stink like bay leaves. Bear with me, guys. But I mean, come on. There's a lot more that we can be experiencing. There's a lot more that we can be doing with our time. We can begin tuning into nature. Oh, looks like our candle just fell. Let's see if I can get this to stay without it completely melting. Alright guys, so that pretty much sums it up. Just a simple video. I'm going to take care of this candle. Just remember that there's much more to life than the stupid little story that the experts want you to think is the real deal. There's a hell of a lot of beauty here. There's a hell of a lot of magic. You've just got to go looking for it and not give up when you don't find it. If you keep knocking at wisdom's door, you'll eventually find it. Peace be with you.